Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Montcast. First up we have what's popular. This is what most people have been playing for the last couple weeks since the last episode. And the answer is Shadow Tactics. Shadow Tactics is a little more than a year old, so it's not exactly a new game, but it's that hardcore tactical stealth game set in Japan around the Edo period, I think it's pronounced. It's been relatively popular compared to how popular it normally is. Slay the Spire is also popular, and it, I believe, is a newer one. This is a card game that is also a roguelike game, and they're kind of fused together. It actually looks pretty cool. I might have to check this one out. And I just saw this in my research in the last couple weeks and keeping up with what people are playing, and this made the list. So it looks really interesting. Not a whole lot really jumped out these past 2 weeks, and overall I feel like the number of people playing video games have dropped. I suspect that's due to the insane number of esports championships going on right now, and that people are actually watching rather than playing. That does seem to be the case. But another game that jumped out ahead of where it normally sits is Escape from Tarkov, the military simulator shooter game. Popular on console, we have exactly status quo. Nothing really jumping out. Fortnite, Call of Duty World War II, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, PUBG, and Grand Theft Auto 5 are the top 5 games on console. Nothing really out of order. And again, I suspect that's due to lots of esports going on. For the new game, I've got an open-ended puzzle game from Zectronics for you. It's called Opus Magnum, and Zectronics, that is, has created other open-ended puzzle games and other kinds of puzzle games before. They do a really good job, and this one looks like a lot of fun. I know it's on the wish list of a couple of my friends that are really looking to get their hands on this game. In video game news, I wanted to first update on Spectre and Meltdown that I touched on in the last episode, because I kinda got things a little wrong. What I said in the last episode was true, other than it is not limited to Intel processors. It's not really limited to any kind of device, really. Anything with multi-core processors or hyper-threading, it all gets bundled in here. That includes the processor that's in your phone. That includes if you have an AMD computer. It is all affected. However, it does seem like things are cooling off due to a lot of patches hitting the airwaves, I guess. That's the wrong way to put it. But a lot of patches are out to solve these issues. They're not all fixed by any stretch of the imagination. But it seems like the biggest threats have been somewhat neutralized. Concurrent viewership records on Twitch have been smashed over and over again in the last couple weeks. So coming into 2018, the biggest concurrent viewership record was held by Faker, the League of Legends mid laner and 3-time world champion. It had a peak of about 250,000, give or take. I'm not sure the exact number, but it was about 250,000 concurrent viewers watching him at the same time. Then Riot unbanned a notoriously toxic League of Legends player that goes by Tyler 1, and he broke that record substantially with more than 300,000 viewers. And then Overwatch League happened. Good God, Overwatch League was popular. And I'm actually really excited to report that it was more popular than really anyone thought it would be. On day 1, match 3 was the big match. It was the Dallas Fuel versus the Seoul Dynasty. It was where the peak concurrent viewership on the English broadcast hit 437,000 viewers. This is not counting the Chinese language broadcast, which likely brings this concurrent viewership number up to about 1 million, probably more. But we don't have exact numbers on the Chinese broadcast, and Chinese numbers are always a little bit, take them with a grain of salt anyways. But Blizzard does report that 10 million people watched Overwatch League in week 1 of season 1, and that is crazy. It's not a new record for a weekend event or a multi-day event, but it's close enough that maybe when we get the playoffs, we could potentially see new records being broken again. But I guess time will tell. Stardew Valley announced that they are working on releasing a multiplayer version. It's gonna be a new game mode, but there are mods and ways you can play multiplayer right now, but Stardew Valley is going to work on an official multiplayer, I believe up to 4-player multiplayer, and I think they said it's coming out in Q1 of 2018, so we shouldn't have to wait too long for that. So this week's indie game is Bridge Constructor. I know there's a lot of bridge building games out there and bridge building simulators out there. This one just caught my eye because it was the first one that's $1. That's it, just $1. It's got like 4 DLCs. This one seems like it's not the best bridge builder I've seen, but it's the best value because this one is on sale. I'll leave the link for the sale in the podcast description of this episode, but you better jump on that because I'm not sure how long the sale is going to last. As I mentioned before, good God, there is a lot of esports to power through, so I'm just going to get right down to it. I told you in the last episode I would recap the Smite World Championships. E-United beat Team Rival in the final, which was a $525,000 match. So, the way the prize pool breaks down for this one is it's $1 million prize pool. But this one was more of a winner-take-all kind of prize pool than most esports championship are. The winner gets $600,000 of that $1 million prize pool. The loser gets $75,000. And then it tapers off from there. 9th and 10th place in the championship don't get anything, which is stupid. If you're good enough to make the World Championships, they should at least give you a little something for your trouble of going to the World Championships, if nothing else. But yeah, I just wanted to voice my opinion that this is way too lopsided, especially when you compare it to other esports, but that's my opinion. One of the 2 CSGO majors that happen annually is on right now. It is still going on, so there's not a whole lot to report other than that it's happening. The CSGO Boston Major is what it's called. If you're interested, there's lots of viewers on it. And other than day 1, week 1, it is actually has more viewership than the Overwatch League. So there's that, and it's close to that 200 to 250,000 concurrent viewers, depending on which teams they're playing during the gameplay matches. But that's going on for about another week and a half. So I'll be back next episode with a recap on that. But it's one of the 2 major CS:GO tournaments, so I have to mention it. Overwatch League week 1, and now as I record this, week 2 is underway. It had, as I mentioned earlier, tons and tons of viewership, but Twitch, the video game streaming website, reportedly, they haven't confirmed this anywhere that I've found, but they've reportedly spent $90 million, that's $90 million, on the rights to secure third-party streaming rights for the first 2 seasons of Overwatch League. Now, if that's even remotely close to true, that's an insane amount of money. However, given the numbers, the viewership numbers that Overwatch League has seen, that was completely justified, because they're gonna get their money back tenfold. Well, maybe not tenfold, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be worthwhile to them, because nobody else is gonna be streaming Overwatch League, and Overwatch League is very, very popular. All of you League of Legends fans are very happy right about now. Doesn't matter what region you're in, China, Korea, Europe, and North America. All the major ones and others are starting or have started their spring split. Europe starts today, the day the episode drops, January 19th. North America will start tomorrow, January 20th, the day after this episode drops. And it's the start of a long grind to the World Championships in October, November-ish. But yeah, the season started, and that's very exciting. The first season with the new runes, and we've got some interesting new champions like Zoe that are going to keep this season very interesting, as well as some very different looking rosters, especially in North America and Europe. So there's that. Due to another lack of listener questions, I figured instead of doing more of a spotlight, I'd do an opinion piece. I want you guys to write in and let me know what your opinion is on a couple of topics I got. Women in esports, specifically talking about the Overwatch League, for example. It's very complicated. It's not just a matter of having a female that's talented enough to play on the top teams here. It's a lot more complicated than that on the back end, on the team side of things. These teams live together in the same house year round, and you would be hard pressed to find an owner who's jumping to have a co-ed player house because of just the risks involved and the potential PR disaster. So I feel like women have more than an uphill battle trying to get into esports, especially with a culture like player housing, where the players live together so they can practice together, which makes a lot of sense, but then having men and women together, just humans are silly, and sometimes they can behave silly. So yeah, let me know what you think on women in esports. Also, let me know, the question of the week is, if you could live in any gaming world you've ever played in, which gaming world would you live in if you could only pick one? Let me know. You know where to find me, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.